Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the Cruise and Travel Podcast with Paul McAllister. With this week's Rats on the Ship news that broke, today we've got 10 tips on how not to get sick on a cruise ship. Plus, Paul has some great deals that are available right now, and we'll check the latest cruise and travel news and hear how many nights the newest Disney ship's first cruise was. In fact, I'll tell you right now, it was one. And I'll tell you why shortly. So, let's start the show.
It's time to get your cruise on.
This is Cruise and Travel with Paul McAllister.
Hello, I'm Steve, and sitting next to me is the man himself from 101cruise.com.au, Paul McAllister.
Yes, 101cruise.com.au is where you find the best prices for cruises, especially if you work for an airline.
That's right. But to get hold of them, you need to sign up to our website, 101cruise.com.au. All right, yeah, hello. Roof's here
Roof,
too, by
yeah,
the way.
hello, Roof.
He's our mascot. Okay, so to kick the episode off, where are you taking us this time?
Well, I'm focusing on the Australian market for October onwards, Steve, because they're starting to sell really quick and it's a bit of a limitation on availability on cruise lines coming this year. So I wanted to have a chat to everyone and say, if you're thinking about doing an Australian cruise, now is the time to do it. I know we're sitting in winter and it's a bit cold, especially on the East Coast, but it's time for you to think about planning that cruise because they are going to sell really quickly. But we've got some great deals. So our first one is an 11-night cruise on Celebrity Edge. Now, we love this ship. It's a beautiful ship to go out on. It's cruising from Sydney and you're going to go to New Zealand to Doubtful Sound, Dusky Sound, Milford Sound, lots of sounds in there, and Dunedin, Christchurch, Tauranga, and back to Auckland. Then you cruise back to Sydney. Now, an inside room would normally set you back in US dollars, $5,291, but at 101 Cruise, we've got it on for $1,976. That's 63% off, which is really good.
That's a good deal. What about a balcony?
Well, a balcony would normally set you back $9,099 US dollars, but we have it on at 101 Cruise at $2,634 US dollars. That's a saving of 71%, so it's a really good deal. And if you really want to go up to the next level, head on to Concierge Class, which has a balcony, normally $9,739 US dollars, but at 101 Cruise, we have it on at $3,223. Now that's 67%
a third
off.
of the retail price, which is just awesome, isn't it?
It is. They're really good prices considering we know there's going to be a reduced capacity of ships coming into Australia this year. And now's the time to act upon it and grab it while they're at these great prices.
And we know a lot of our listeners don't want to travel outside of Australia to get on a cruise. So this is the perfect cruise for you. You just need to get yourself to Sydney if you're not already there. Mm-hmm. And the cruise leaves from Sydney Harbour and comes back to Sydney Harbour.
And Steve, you know, one of the great things about cruising in and out of Sydney is the harbour, and doing it in the morning, it's just spectacular, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
The sun rising and
the way most cruises work is they leave late in the afternoon, so you get to see sunset, and they arrive early in the morning. And we actually on Celebrity Edge last year, we actually got up out of bed at about 5 a.m.
Yeah, I reckon it was
5 a.m. just so that we could be up on the deck to come through the heads and cruise up Sydney Harbour and see the bridge and the Opera House. It was amazing.
It's beautiful. And Sydney is so spectacular, but in the morning, that morning light with the office buildings still lit up, it looks spectacular and it's a really nice thing to do. It's well worth getting out of bed. All right, so all these prices are valid at the 8th of May, 2026. Prices are in US dollars and subject to change in availability. Now, coming up, Steve, how does an 11-night cruise visiting some amazing Australian cities for 82% off?
Oh, well, I'm there.
I know. That's only 114 US dollars a day. It's such a bargain. So we'll bring that to you later.
All right, let's check out the news, which is not that button. It's this button.
Now the latest cruise and travel news.
Well, Silver Sea's Silver Spirit now features an enhanced onboard experience with refreshed public spaces and new culinary offerings. One of the biggest additions to Silver Spirit is Riviera, which is an all-new poolside concept that's inspired by the Mediterranean's iconic coastal locations. Riviera is designed as an all-day destination that flows from relaxed mornings to really vibrant evenings. This helps create an inviting setting for guests to unwind, connect, and enjoy unhurried moments right throughout the day. So in the mornings, the space is for wellness rituals, energizing drinks, and quiet moments by the pool. Then as the day goes on, the atmosphere changes to a more social and lively situation with curated music and casual dining. In the evenings, it's a social space under the stars. It's now a natural gathering space from breakfast right through to dinner. So that's great for Silver Sea's Silver Spirit. Now, Fabled Voyages, have you heard of them?
Never heard of them. I actually have, but no one else would have.
It's a new residential cruise line that's targeting a 2028 launch. Unveiled their new details on what the cruise line will offer on board this week. It's the newest proposed residential cruise line that will have a ship that you can live on. They will offer an all-inclusive long-term living experience as you cruise to the most iconic destinations around the world. Residents, wait for it.
Oh, I love this.
Will also be allowed to bring up to 2 cats and dogs with them. Not just one.
You bring two. Hey, Roof, do you want to go on a cruise?
Yeah, what do you think, Roof? Roof, wake up. What do you think? You want to go on a cruise? Yeah? Yeah.
Oh, that's a yes.
Yeah, okay, 2 means yes.
Yep.
Their first ship will carry approximately 1,200 to 1,600 guests while emphasising stability, comfort, affordability, and most importantly, community. So that's good.
I know. Look, that's a real trend, isn't it? The residential ships. We're seeing that coming through quite a lot. Very
After
exciting.
spending a night on the ship in its embarkation port, guests on Disney Cruise Line's newest vessel received a disappointing announcement on May the 8th. The voyage was officially cancelled. For families who'd settled into their staterooms in Singapore, the 4-day cruise on the 6,700-passenger Disney Adventure was over after about 26 hours due to a mechanical issue on board.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no. Wouldn't that – you would have just built up so much time being excited about all of that, and then bang.
Not going anywhere.
Bing bong. Good morning, everybody. This is your captain. Get off.
That's right. I hope you like Singapore.
Yeah.
Because you're going back to it.
You're going back there. You're staying here for another 4 days. Yeah.
Well, did they say on the ship for the 4 days?
No, they had to get off.
They had to get off.
There was a mechanical issue. So they haven't said what that actually was, but there we go. Okay, well, this episode, you told us at the end of last episode that you wanted to give people a bunch of tips on how to stay well on a ship.
I know. How topical is this? Because what happened during the week, Steve, that we had a big news story about this ship that
it was everywhere. All the news stations.
Yeah, that had come from Argentina, the Honduras, and it was it's had an illness on board, and a major one, and a couple of people have died, which is very, very sad.
I think 3 people. Yeah, 3 people have died.
And they're putting it down to a rodent-based illness. Now, that's still to be concluded, but they're still not quite sure if that's the truth of it. But it's very scary, and there's at least 3 crew members who are ill. Now, interesting thing about the ship is it's off the west side of Africa heading up to Canary Islands. The Canary Islands have said, nah, you're not coming here either.
Right.
And it's caused a lot of stir around the world, actually, because anyone who's on there, they're saying they can't return to their country without being quarantined until they're medically cleared as well.
Well, fair enough.
Oh, I think so too. And look, a lot of people are jumping to conclusions that this is a new coronavirus.
Yeah.
And no, it's not there yet, people. Let's just stay calm. We don't need to rush out and buy new toilet paper or bulk toilet paper. It's all going to be fine. But it's a really good thing that we're going to talk about how to stay safe
Yeah,
and on
well,
board as well.
I thought it would be worth looking at how cruise ships compare to land-based resorts when
And
it
that's a
comes
really
to
good
cleanliness
point.
and sanitation. So how often are each actually tested, and more importantly, which industry has strict requirements for reporting outbreaks and which one doesn't? So some of the hardest working people on the planet are cruise ship crew members who keep
Totally.
their ships nice and clean and sanitized.
We've seen it, haven't we, in action?
Yeah, the pressure and stress that they face is actually really hard to imagine. They go over the top. Livelihoods often ride on a surprise CDC health inspection score that can happen at any moment. So CDC is the Department of Health, basically.
It is for cruise lines. It's a governing
America.
body, yeah.
Yeah. Cruise ship outbreaks just make the news because that news is big money, as we saw this week. Outlets know that calling a ship a floating petri dish gets clicks, and the anti-cruise crowd pounces on every story as proof of
Are
their
you listening,
conviction.
Lisa?
But so while these stories go viral, a virus on a cruise ship often does not.
No.
The big difference, how and why these cases are reported. If you look at the federal US data on the latest 2026 regulations, the reality is actually very different than what most news articles will have you believe, because a cruise ship is arguably the most scrutinized piece of real estate on earth, facing a centralized federal machine that requires total transparency. So, for example, outbreak reporting, is it required or not? Cruise ships, mandatory reporting. The CDC must be notified if just 2 to 3% of people on board report symptoms.
Yep.
This data is required to be made publicly available immediately. Now, for resort hotels, there's zero reporting. There's no requirement to disclose outbreaks or illness rates to the public or a federal government. Okay?
That's true.
So this is why cruises get a bad rep. You know, they're the only vacation sector required to be 100% honest. If 50 people get a stomach bug at a 1,000-room hotel, there's not so much as a whisper.
No.
If 50 people get sick on a cruise ship, it's classified as a CDC outbreak, and that ends up on the nightly news. This transparency creates a false perception of a floating petri dish, as I said before, when in reality the ship is simply the only one being audited in real time.
No, look, you think about airlines, Steve. No one ever reports anything on an airline either.
Oh, no, except for crashes, but they're fairly obvious.
Yeah, but they never talk about someone getting food poisoning or anything on a cruise on an aircraft.
No, well, look,
because they can't
COVID was the perfect example. How many people probably caught COVID on aeroplanes?
Well, according to certain CEOs, you can't catch it because they have HEPA filters, which I don't believe in.
So you might think norovirus is a cruise ship thing too, but only 1% of all norovirus cases happen on cruise ships.
Wow.
And even though a huge majority of cases happen on land, the reporting requirements just don't exist.
No, and you know what? That's the one that everyone talks about. Oh, norovirus on ships, because they think it's everywhere. And there you go. It's not.
So, okay, let's look at another area, medical infrastructure, say clinical versus basic. So cruise ships are required to have 24/7 medical centres with doctors, nurses and isolation protocols.
Mm-hmm.
If you're at a resort hotel, they usually only provide a first aid station or an on-call doctor with little to no dedicated quarantine protocols. Yeah. A cruise ship is the only vacation style where an on-site doctor can legally order a sick guest to isolate to protect the rest of the population. That doesn't happen in hotels.
No, God, no.
And so while ships don't have every piece of equipment a hospital has, the medical centres are equipped with diagnostic tools like cardiac monitors, X-ray machines, ventilators, defibrillators, all sorts of things.
Well, they are like a floating emergency room.
Yeah, and a resort doesn't have that kind of infrastructure. They shoot you off down the road to a hospital.
Well, you've got to also think of it from this point of view too, that in a hotel you've got medical services around you that you can go to and you can get an ambulance. When you're in the middle of the sea, they have to have this to make sure that everyone is safe.
Yeah, and if an illness spreads in a hotel, there's no centralised system to track it or treat it or stop it from moving through the lobby. So,
I know.
yeah, I thought it was worth just talking through all of that today. It sort of brings this current episode back to reality, and it's serious. Like, several people have died, but
It doesn't happen.
I'm sure more than several people died in hotels this week.
Oh, totally. If you think about the number of people who travel on cruise ships and don't have any issues at all, or they don't have any outbreaks, it is such a minor thing. But that's because the cruise ships take such care in making sure that they have everything right and they keep up to these standards. So
let's get into your 10 tips to stay nice and healthy on a cruise ship.
Yeah, okay. So first thing, and it's so basic, wash your hands. Wash them regularly on a cruise. Look, I'll take it back to our very first cruise, and that was on Seabourn. We were so surprised every time you moved anywhere around the ships, whether you're going to a bar, a restaurant, or when you just first get back on the cruise, the first thing they say to you is, sanitize your hands. And this was way before COVID.
Way before. This was
Way
like
before
2013, 2014 or something. So ships were on top of it.
A long time ago.
That hand sanitizing business many, many years beforehand in an effort to protect their community.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is really important. And if you touch anything, wash your hands when you get into your room because you don't want to spread it around your room. The other thing is drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, because if you don't drink enough, you are going to get ill from just dehydration, especially just from being out in a port and walking around in a hot day, or just even laying by the pool. Drink lots of water. And if you are leaving the ship to go explore the port you're going into, take a reusable water bottle on the cruise with you and then just fill it up either in your cabin or at the buffet, because they have filtered water there for you. All right, so our next tip is number 3, which is similar to what we just talked about being hydrated, but have some awareness of the port that you're going into or the countries that you're going into, because certain places like in Asia, Mexico and Egypt, you shouldn't drink the water just from a tap from anywhere because it's not drinkable to our standards. And remembering when you are traveling that your stomach can become very sensitive to different waters and environments around you, and you don't want to get sick. So if you're going to buy water in a port, make sure it's always sealed, either with plastic or it's one that when you crack it open, you know it hasn't been used. And avoid things like ice, because again, the ice may not have been filtered water when they froze it. And if you have that with your Coca-Cola, then you may pick up a bug that way as well. And just avoid any fruits where you eat the skin, because that water that they may have washed the fruit in, or you may wash it in thinking, I'm doing the right thing by washing the fruit, it'll be okay. That could also get you ill as well. And just uncooked vegetables, all the same sort of things there. Number 4 is fighting jet lag before you embark on your cruise. Now, a lot of people will just land in on the day before the cruise. Now, we always say don't do that, because if anything happens with the airline and they have a delay, then you're going to miss your onward cruise. So if you're going to get in, a day or so before, make sure you get some sleep and, have a rest before you get on the cruise, because you don't want to get on there and have that jet lag effect. Have a couple of days in port. Try when you get into your port, if you're doing a back of the clock or a night flight, that's going to get you early morning. When you get into that port, try and stay awake all day so that you make yourself so tired that night you actually get some sleep, and hopefully you get a good night's sleep and you break that cycle. Now, what do I tell you when we're laying by the pool for point number 5, Steve?
Wear sunscreen.
Oh, I know. Yes, please, please, please wear sunscreen. I know I'm a serial offender sometimes on this, but I watch what the ratings are. And if it's too hot, then I will absolutely slap it on. But you just never know what the ultraviolet light rating is. So put on sunscreen. You don't want to be a roasted tomato laying by the pool, or as we like to call them, what, Steve? Rock lobsters.
Lobsters, yes, because that's what they end up looking like.
And then for the rest of the cruise, you're in pain and you can't go back in the sun because it's only going to make it worse. And
what's the next one?
Well, number 6 is pace yourself at the cruise buffet.
At the trough.
Yes, I was waiting for you to say what it was. And so many people just think, oh my God, there's so much food. I must have it all on day 1. It's going to be there the next day and the next day, and it's going to be there all day for you. So Take your time.
It'll be there in an hour, so you don't need to take a plate full of food back to your room after you've already eaten.
I know. It's amazing what you see, and it's like, what are you going to do? And it's wasteful. It's just silly. Like, there's people out there that need to have food around the countries and they don't have to cook as much if you're not going to eat it all. So just pace yourself.
Okay.
And now, look, if you do get seasick, that does happen. This is point number 7. It can happen. If you do get seasick, go to the medical centre. Just don't try and write it out and think you're going to be a hero for doing it. Pop down and see them. They always have seasickness tablets, and that will help you recover much quicker and you get back to enjoying your cruise. Also, if you have chew ginger candies, that might also help settle your stomach.
Ginger candies?
Yeah, that's what it's a big thing in the States, that, ginger candy. I personally don't like the taste of it. So, it's up to you. But either grab some seasickness tablets before you go, or even better, just go to the medical centre and grab some there, because they will have the right ones to make you get better quicker.
All right. What's the 8th smart way to avoid getting sick on a cruise?
Well, keep yourself fit. Go for a walk around the cruise walking track, each day if you can, and do a few laps. The more fitness you get, the less you're going to have a chance of getting ill. And also, instead of taking the lift where you can touch buttons and things, try and use the stairs. It's going to be better for you, helps you get your step count up, and you'll feel like going back to that buffet again, which is really cool.
That's another area that they're always cleaning, aren't they? The stair handrails. There's always a cleaner nearby one, and they're constantly cleaning the stair rails.
And I think especially we saw that when we were on I won't say the cruise line, but where there was an outbreak, a gastro, and like the buffet was all served. You weren't allowed to touch anything in there. They were saying to everyone to wash their hands because of the outbreak. They closed the pool. So these are all the outcomes if there is an outbreak. So that's why we encourage you to do all the right things so that it doesn't happen and you can use all the facilities. But yeah, we saw that a lot. Like even in the lifts, there was people washing the buttons or wiping them down and doing the handrails. They were in and out of the toilets, and anything that you touched on a handle, they were cleaning it, which is great.
What's the 9th way to avoid getting sick on a cruise? I'm not sure I agree with this one.
I know. I have a little bit of difficulty with it, but it does sort of make sense. Let's go easy on the alcohol. It's not a party time all the time. You don't have to be there sculling down those beers or that cocktail because it's free. Just pace yourself. Like we said about the buffet, pace yourself. Make sure that you're going to enjoy it. You don't want to wake up in the morning with a thumping headache and a hangover that you don't recover till 6 o'clock at night. And then you start and do it all over again. And then you go into the next port and you miss another port because you just got hammered again.
Okay. And what's your final tip?
All right. So this one is, if you do get sick, tell the truth. Don't try and hide it from people. So these days, most cruise lines are asking people to fill out forms before they actually even get on the cruise ship. Saying what they've been up to a couple of days before and if they had any cold and flu symptoms, because they don't want to bring it on and then for it to start spreading around. Be honest on it. Tell them how you are. Now, you will get assessed by the medical team and they may have a course of action for you, but they want to make sure you have the best cruise as well. And they want you to get better quicker. Now, it doesn't mean you're automatically kicked off the cruise. While contagious cruisers might find themselves quarantined in their cabin on the first day, they do a great service to get you back out and around. The big message is don't spread that virus around the ship. It means just more people get sick and it becomes a bigger issue on board.
All right, so there's a whole bunch of smart ways to avoid getting sick on a cruise.
Yay.
And now it's time for...
Yay, deal number 2.
Yeah,
I know.
deal number 2, once again, coming out of Sydney and back to Sydney.
It is. So this is departing on the 12th of December 2026. It's an 11-night Norwegian Spirit cruise. Very cool. You're going to leave from Sydney, head down to Hobart, then to Adelaide. You're going to go to Kangaroo Island, Melbourne, and then head back up to Sydney. Now, this is a really good deal. Your inside room would normally cost you $6,732, but at 101 Cruise, we have it on at $1,249 per person.
So over 11 nights, that's about $114, $115 a person.
Yeah, per
day.
Per day, yeah. It's fantastic. It's 81% off. Now, an ocean view room would normally be $7,865, but for extra, $180, you can go into an ocean view room for $1,429. Now, that's a bargain. It's 82% off for $130 a day. And if you want to have a beautiful balcony, it's going to cost you not much more. It's normally $13,032 on this cruise, but we have it on at 101 Cruise for $2,293 per day.
That's like 80% off.
I know. It's incredible,
Wow.
isn't it? And look, Norwegian do a great job as well, so you'll love that.
On that room alone, the balcony room, you're saving about nearly $11,000.
Yeah, it's crazy. So $208 US per person per day is not bad.
All right, and another Sydney to Sydney cruise.
Oh, I know. We're back on Celebrity Edge again. It's an 11-night cruise. Now, this one departs on the 1st of December. You're going to go from Sydney up to Airlie Beach, then on to Cairns and Port Douglas, then back to Sydney. So you've got a couple of sea days on the way home. But it's a beautiful part of the country to go and see. So I would highly recommend this one. And also we've got some great deals on some really lovely rooms. So Ocean View Room would normally set you back $5,506, but at 101 Cruise we have it on at $1,832. That's 67% off. A balcony room would normally set you back $8,866, but at 101 Cruise we have it for $2,301 per person. That's 74% off. And if you want to go up to a concierge room, normally it would cost you around $9,506, but for an extra $5 on top of a balcony, so it's $2,306, you can get a concierge room.
Wow.
Now, what does a concierge room get you, Steve?
You tell me.
Alrighty. So it means when you get on board on the embarkation day, they do a special luncheon for concierge members, which is great. So it's a beautiful 3-course meal. You get to meet other people, and it's a lovely way to start off your cruise, because where do you don't have to go to, Steve, where they always
The trough.
I know. And the trough on your first day is not pleasant.
It's like everybody in the trough, which is the buffet area, has never had a meal before in their life. No. That's how they're treating it.
Well, I've got to say, we always rate it on a couple of cruise ships we're not going to talk about. The Celebrity Edge's buffet is really lovely.
It is very
nice. It's a beautiful area. They actually manage it the best that we've been on. So we always think they're great for that reason. But you also get extra amenities in your room, like umbrellas, which is handy if it's raining because you don't have to go down and line up to get your umbrella if they have any left. They'll also have binoculars in your room so you can look out. They have enhanced bathroom amenities. They also have extra little bits. Oh, that's right. I couldn't think of the last one. They do afternoon snacks in your room, which is delivered in every afternoon. And there are a cold savoury and a cold sweet item for you if you haven't had enough food already.
Literally $5 more than just the normal balcony room. So it's still a balcony room, but you get all those extra things.
And they'll be on a higher floor than the balcony rooms as well, which is always a bonus. So that's a great one. Now, all these prices are valid at the 8th of May, 2026. Prices are in US dollars and subject to availability and change.
Remember, you can get access to all the deals by signing up to our newsletter at 101cruise.com.au. Once you've signed up and you've got access inside the website, there are heaps of articles in the 101 Cruise magazine as well for you. Don't forget also, whether you've booked a cruise through us or not, you can always buy travel insurance via our website. It's NIB Travel Insurance, which is one of the best. And trust us, you'll find it hard to beat the rates we can get for you, especially if you are in the airline industry. But even outside the industry, compare us with any other travel insurance provider and you'll see.
Well, that's it this time. On next episode, we'll have more deals for you. Plus, I'll run you through all of the cruises that have drink packages for free.
For more, go to 101cruise.com.au and sign up for the newsletter and to get access to the site. You can also follow us on Facebook at 101 Cruise and on Instagram at 101 Cruises.